welcome to our weekly Read Aloud. Today we have Candi Krisch from the Multicultural Center and a student assistant of hers, and I'll let you introduce everyone. But I'd also like to bring your attention to these cards that are placed around. They have some of the events coming up in the next week or so through the Multicultural Center. So feel free to pick one up, take it with you if you'd like, or at least look at them and consider what you'd like to go see when you can. Candi, would you like to introduce yourself?
Oh, absolutely. Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Candi Krisch. I'm an Intercultural Specialist Liaison to American Indian and Indigenous students. I work in the Multicultural Center over in the brand new Ohio Union. And we have selected 3 books to read to you today. This is the Treasurer of the American Indian Council. His name is Trent. Is there anything else you'd like to say about yourself?
Nope.
Oh, okay. Man, a few words. And an all-around fabulous assistant. So I realize I have 50 minutes today, and although that sounds like a really long time, and it did when I first agreed to do this, as I started picking out things, I realized that's hardly any time at all. So I do feel that I need to frame some things for you. How many people feel like they know things about American Indian or Indigenous peoples already? Okay, that was kind of interesting. Okay. Well, to frame this, there are 569 currently recognized tribes in the United States. I am Aniyanwea. I am Western Band Cherokee. I was raised in Oklahoma. And obviously, I currently live here in Ohio. But many of the things that I chose today, I have 3 books. Trent has 1. These are the other 2. Every Day is a Good Day. It was compiled by Wilma Mankiller. And Selu, Seeking the Core Mother's Wisdom by Marilou Awiakta and Myths of the Cherokee by James Mooney. That's kind of a classic. And one of the reasons that I chose to put James Mooney in the middle is one of the stories that I'm going to tell you and share with you relates specifically to our belief in spirit people. So I will be reading that excerpt first and then try to think about that in relationship to what Trent will be reading as far as the spirit people, so you can kind of tie everything together. I tried to tie everything together. Most of it is woman-focused. For the men in the room, I'm sorry, but it's just kind of how my bias runs. But I did try to think about you in some ways, so hopefully you will take away something today. I'm hoping that you do, and feel free at the end of the reading excerpts to ask me any questions. I may not have the answer, but I will certainly try to do my best. So with all that said, I'm going to start out with Every Day is a Good Day. And to give you a little background about this book, the subtitle is Reflections of Contemporary Indigenous Women. And Wilma Mankiller was the chief of the Cherokee Nation, and she just recently passed last week. They're having a memorial for her this week. She knows a lot of women. She knew a lot of women. She became very active in the 70s. She was chief for 10 years. And she got together a group of her friends, many of whom are famous at least in indigenous cultures. And they reflected on a few themes. So that's what this book is about. And I chose some things that I thought would be relevant today. Beatrice Madison is one of the first indigenous women who holds a doctorate in anthropology. She was one of the first indigenous women who kind of fought that stereotype of you should not study your own culture. And that kind of goes across the board anthropologically. They suggest that you don't study your own culture because you're too enmeshed in it. And she said, Pshaw, I will do what I think is best. And she knew Vine Deloria and his mother. So the first reflection is about ceremony. People kind of think we stereotypically think a lot about ceremony, and in some ways we do. But she is talking about Christianity in regards to indigenous culture. So Beatrice Medicine says that various Christian groups divided us among the reservations. My father was a Catholic, and my sister Grace is a strong Catholic. The Delorias were Episcopalian. I was raised a Catholic, but I believe in the Lakota religion. There are similarities in all religions: kindness, respect for the individual, and a belief in spiritual power. In the Sundance, when the men pierce their chests, it isn't for themselves. It is for the welfare of the group. Women have a different role in the Sundance. They instruct the girls, and they dance with the pipe. There is also the sweat lodge, where you can resolve a lot of things, obtain information and advice, and talk over whatever is bothering you without fear that it will be shared with others. Whatever is said in the sweat lodge stays there. We all need a belief system. Christianity really disrupted the kinship unit. In the 1930s, we weren't even allowed to go to some of the traditional funerals. Now our people no longer go to Christian churches, and they don't know their own native belief systems. In a sense, they are in spiritual limbo. So the next passage that I chose was by Florence Soap. And Florence Soap is the mother-in-law of Wilma Mankiller. She was an elder in the Cherokee Nation. And about ceremony, she says, I started going to church when I was about 13 years old. We went to church a lot. We used trails in the woods to walk to and from church. At night, we would use a lantern to light the trail. As Christians, we are taught to love everybody because God wants us to love each other. When I was well, I would go to the hospital and sit with people or cook for people. God taught me that. We also went to Cherokee stomp dances, and we used Cherokee traditional medicine. My mother-in-law, Molly Soap, taught me a lot about medicine. I used to help her gather medicine in the woods. She was a good woman and a good healer who lived to be more than 110 years of age. She served as a midwife for most of my children. She could treat so many illnesses, but there are diseases now that are new to our people. Back then, there was very little arthritis or diabetes. To treat people, she used fire and water, and she would say the right words in Cherokee. Being able to heal is a gift from God. Some people claim that they are healers, but they just want money. You can tell a good medicine person if you use the medicine and it helps you, if it heals you. If it doesn't work, then the person is not a good medicine man or woman. You have to be able to speak Cherokee to be a Cherokee medicine person. How can you say the right Cherokee words if you can't speak Cherokee? God is the one that gives healers the ability to help people.